Hello, 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 one and all. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening.
Happy New Year, one and all. How's your
Happy New Year.
YouTube going? Almost a week in. How are you guys
Mm.
there in the chat? I see Leg Kick 1. I see Osgreat Sage, Mo Biggs. Good to see you guys. How's it going, Russ? How's your first week of 2022?
Oh, mixed.
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 Like a drink? Or like a turd with a chocolate coating?
Yeah. I'd say it's more like a turd next to a chocolate. It's kind of like that. It's like there's some great stuff and there's some disappointing stuff. But hell, planes are not falling out the sky. Everybody is fine, and life moves forward. So there you go. So overall, I'd have to say it's good. Really, I can't complain. Just the slings and arrows and all that.
Wow. Well, I see we've got more people joining the show. Past Master Dan and Osgreat Sage and Mo Biggs and Shadowhawk Backs and Statistical Zero, Unhinged Entertainment. There's even more. Amanda B. Good to see you all. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a few weeks.
It has. Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Yeah, indeed. It's been a crazy end to a crazy year.
Yeah.
It was just one thing after another, and there was some family business I had to take care of. Stuff that just came up unexpectedly, like most of 2021, I have to say. Russ, I was thinking about the last year and everything that happened, and what might be happening in 2022, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so I put a little visual representation together of how I think yours and mine's 2021 went, and what I'm predicting for 2022. So here's a little something I cooked up. This is how I think you took on 2021.
Yeah.
Is that a pretty fair representation?
That's pretty much my life. Yeah, no, that was my spirit animal in video form, without a doubt.
All right. And this is what 2021 was like for me. I'm happy to say I was victorious, but the victory came at great cost.
Yeah, that was very
good. So there's so much. I had too much for one show. Maybe over the next few shows, I'll try to unpack some of the craziness that was going on. I was
just glad to see myself in cowboy boots again. It's been some time.
Yeah, well, I guess when you've got business to take care of, you wear the proper
you wear the boots.
Footwear.
Yeah. Last time I wore cowboy boots, I had hair.
That's probably the same for Woody Harrelson. So you're in good company. Now, some people may notice from the Bancroft show or from this morning's show that my background is changing a little bit. My mic camera setup's changing a little bit. One of the things that became very apparent at the end of the year, partially because of some of the other crazy family stuff that was going on, is that our kids, which had been sharing rooms, they really needed to get into their own bedrooms. And any parents out there with multiple kids, you can probably relate to this. You get to a point, even when your kids are still young, when you've got multiples, you find out that there comes a point in their lives where, regardless of the age split or personality or whatever, uh, there are some siblings that just are not meant to share a room for their entire childhood. And you might have 4 kids and 2 of them are happy to share the same room all the way through, especially if they're twins. Um, but then the other 2 kids, they got to have their own bedroom. It's for the good of the entire family, for multiple reasons. And so we found ourselves in that situation in 2021, and we started the process of moving 20 years of accumulated stuff in this house to get rooms ready and move kids into. But then I got COVID, and it completely smashed, well, not completely smashed those plans, but put them on hold. And then throughout the lengthy recovery process, I kept thinking, oh, we'll be able to start, in this month, or no, we'll have to move it to the next month. No, we'll have to move it to the next month. It just finally got to the point where my wife was going to have the week off from work between Christmas and New Year's. And I said, okay, some family stuff is happening that, I mean, this place is just a powder keg ready to explode. So we're just going to do as much as we can in this one week, and we're going to move as much furniture as we can and offload as much stuff as we can. And if we have to buy stuff, we'll buy it. And that's how we're going to do it. And so that's what we've been doing. Kind of like moving an entire house worth of stuff, one room at a time, and using our living room and a backyard shed as a staging area, which was why we bought the shed in the first place. We got it up right before, no, we bought it right when I got sick, I think, and then we had family and friends put it together for us because I was out of commission. And so all that to say, lots of insanity at the end of the year. Some of it is still ongoing. The lady Fulton is now in this office with me. It's basically half mine, half hers, and we're turning her former office into a bedroom for one of the kids. And so things will change a little bit here and there as the weeks move forward, but we're all mostly doing the same sort of stuff with the show. And I'm looking forward to 2022. We've got so many friendly faces in the chat. You guys are having a good time, it looks like. Past Master Dan, as far as his 2022 goes, he's sorry to inform us he did not win the lottery. Well, neither did I, Past Master. Sorry to hear that. Maybe next time. I want to say hello to Mrs. Good Stuff. Great to see you again. And I thought, yeah, there's Lola Meets. Welcome, Lola. Good to see you. Thanks for joining the show. And I thought there's KSSS, who does not wear cowboy boots. However, he occasionally wears spurs on his Chuck Taylors. I like that. I bet on the basketball court, people don't get too aggressive on defense when you've got your spurs on your Chucks. And Amanda B is asking if you apply those spurs, like you have those ice cleats that you can get on your sneakers. I don't know if they have those in England, but in the lands of frozen ponds and frozen lakes, like where Amanda lives, you got these things you can just snap
Clip 'em
onto the
on,
bottom of
yeah.
your shoes and then walk across the frozen lake.
I am aware of them, but we have very little use for them in the UK, unfortunately.
Yeah, around here, we don't use them at all because Southern California, for us, like if it gets down into the 40s, well, that's Fahrenheit, so it rarely gets into the high 30s overnight during our winters, which for you, Russ, would probably be somewhere in like the 9 to 15 degree range Celsius.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So it's a bit like mainland Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, we had -6 last night,
Oh,
I
okay.
think, out here. I mean, I live out in the sticks. I don't live in the city.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit warmer in town. But yeah, I mean, occasionally we get like deep numbers like that, but they're rare. Not rare. They're like once, twice a year you get really deep numbers like that. Most of the time in the winter, I would say it hovers somewhere between 0 and 10.
Yeah.
You just never know. Being a small island, really, by
Mm-hmm.
comparison to things like mainland Europe and America and what have you, we have got pretty variable temperatures.
Yeah.
I
That was.
think actually, technically, we're far warmer than we should be because of is it the Gulf Stream?
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually far warmer than the island should technically be. But you can go skiing up in Scotland quite regularly. So
Yeah.
it's
Up in the Highlands.
but I wouldn't call it a very, very cold place. I mean, I've spent some time over in Denmark and in Sweden when it was cold, and that was
Mm.
cold. And I also spent some time in Canada when it was cold, and that cool, yeah,
Yeah.
that's proper cold.
Northern Canada, Sweden, Denmark.
Yeah.
You actually cross the Arctic Circle, and then you got some cold winters.
Yeah. That's serious stuff. Yeah.
I wanted to mention Eric the Guapo says, "Hey Joe, Arcathena is the best book in 2021 and my favorite crowdfunding book thus far." Just wanted to say that. Well, thank you very much, Eric. I appreciate it. It's one of those things where anytime I edit something, um, whether it was back in my corporate business days, and we were gonna produce some documentation that was going to go out into the wide world, um, and my name was not on it, or something like Arcathena and other comics I've edited in the last few years that does have my name on it. Either way, there's always this period of anticipation where it's like, okay, what are people gonna are they gonna like what they get? Is it gonna be useful? That's what it boils down to. Is it gonna be
Yeah.
useful? Is it gonna meet their expectations? And then particularly for an editor, there's the dreaded is there gonna be a typo that I missed? And yes, in Arcathena there is one that it missed my eyeballs, two other pairs of eyeballs, at least twice, and some of us it missed 3 times. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm gonna write in the chat. There's a word in there that shows up. Accounts, not like financial accounts. It's accounts. ACCOUNCE, and it's supposed to be announce. ANNOUNCE.
I know. You became sea blind.
Yes, and it's when we discovered it, it was already too late. The book was already out, and it's one of those things where the human brain is essentially there's two things about it that usually are very good, but occasionally really it kick you in the teeth. So one thing is that it's a pattern recognition addict. The brain loves patterns, and it will always try to see patterns. And part of that is really good because it helps us with threat identification, and it's a survival thing, and it helps us to navigate the world by instantly recognizing patterns. But the downside is that the brain will also often like have this automatic error recognition at a subconscious level and then correct it. And then consciously, so you're, let's say, proofreading Arcathena book 1, and whether you're the editor or the writer or the letterer or whoever, the graphic designer, what you read it, you're reading the copy, and your subconscious mind sees ACCOUNCE, but just corrects it to ANNOUNCE.
Yeah.
And
it's
so
like
when you're
reading those bits of text that have got the numbers in and the wrong way round and stuff, your brain just fills it in.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mo. He says he's got his first confirmed bot kill on this channel. Way to go, Woo! Eagle Eye. Nice shooting, Tex. So yeah, is there thankfully Eric Canetti, he's got a good sense of humor about it. I try to have a good sense of humor about it. Although as the editor, personally, it's just those are the ones that I wish I could have those back.
Well, it's Mo just one of those things. You got to let it go.
So. Yeah, Mo says it could be worse. At least it didn't say a nonce.
A nonce. Boy, you nonce.
Yeah, and then Pastmaster Dan says, can't the OCR catch that? You would think so. It's supposed to. And things like spell check in word processors are supposed to catch that. Because to the best of my knowledge, ACCOUNCE is not a word. Therefore, it should have been flagged as misspelled. Yeah, Casey says, isn't that part of the whole Gestalt effect? Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, back to predictions for 2022. Russ?
Yeah.
I think you're going to be going places, my friend.
Нет, у нас сегодня бейсджампинг. Все, полетели. Лечу. Все, ребята, налеталось.
I love that wig.
I predict you're going to be flying high in 2022.
Oh, I hope so. Let's see.
Books are going to be drawn.
There is going to be a bucket load of art drawn this year. There is no doubt about that. And it's going to be a very, very, very deep, wide bucket.
Absolutely.
I can guarantee that.
And after my my rather difficult 2021, this is what I'm predicting for myself.
That's funky. I like that.
We're going places, Russ.
Going places. We're flying.
We're going to be flying high, flying low, flying all around town.
Yeah.
And doing it in style, I must say.
Yeah. Without doubt.
And so I'm really looking forward to what people in the chat are expecting for 2022. The landscape is man.
The landscape is blancmange. There's just it's completely untreadable. You just have to wade through it. It's bizarre out there. The world has gone completely bonkers.
It's wide, it's far, and it's entirely unpredictable at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So we're dealing with as I'll get to the kind of the comic creator's perspective in a minute, but first I just want to say that I really admire people who have taken a number of very large obstacles in the last couple of years, with the whole pandemic, uh, everything that has come with that, and really refuse to let it stop their progress, stop their forward momentum. Just taking the approach that whatever comes along, we'll just handle it and keep moving forward. And I've seen that certainly with some comic book creators, but I also have seen it with people in the chat. Some people I know personally, some people I'm, acquainted with, and don't know personally, but I'm on friendly terms with. Um, and there's just so much that happened uh, last year. Cases I played a clip from Captain Marvel 2. It looks like improvements have been made. Um, there was so much difficulty, but there was also a lot of good stuff that came out of it. And I think a lot of it was the result of a bunch of people just refusing to quit, a bunch of people refusing to lay down and be mowed down by so many things that kind of all came together at the same time and just really gave us, for those of us who had a tough 2020, that seems almost like a walk in the park compared to 2021.
Yeah.
Eric the Guapo says, I'm expecting a lot out of 2022. I have a few big things in motion that are proving to be very lucrative, and I am excited for it. That's fantastic, man. I hope, I really wish nothing but the best for you. Hope that it all works out really well. Tank Ferret says, not shilling, but I need to get some commissions in so I can back some more books. Please spread the word. Okay, back to having fun.
Do it.
You got it, man.
Get hold of Tank Ferret and get him to do something for you.
Now. Yeah, go ahead and put your Twitter handle in the chat there. See if people can get a hold of you. Pops Van Zant is in the chat. Hey, Pops, good to see you.
G'day, Pops.
Kesa says, I don't quit ever. That's why I still smoke. Mama didn't raise a quitter. Oh, man. So here's the deal, everybody. For Outlier Comics, I have been saying post-COVID, I had to obviously reevaluate what the publishing plans were going to be. And I had said that in kind of the March to April timeframe of 2022, we were going to launch the campaign for Outliers Volume 1. And despite the fact that the end of the year was a real doozy for my family, that is still our target. So it's looking now like it's probably going to be April. We ended the last year, and normally I don't talk too much about my family, but today I'm making an exception because the people that have followed this show and people that have joined the email list, they've they've shown interest in what Outlier Comics is doing, and this is one of those cases where in order to be fully transparent with you guys about what's happening with the business, I do need to talk a little bit about family stuff. So if you'll just bear with me for a few minutes, I'll let you know where things stand, and then we'll talk more about what's going to be coming up in this year. So essentially, we ended, in the Fulton family, ended 2021 with 3 months of nonstop unexpected expenses. And we've ended up spending almost $20,000 in
it just gave me physical pain.
Multiple vehicle repairs, unexpected home repairs, like having to install new water pipes for half the house, I was up on the roof with my decrepit back a couple of weeks ago, finding and patching a roof leak. I mean, it's just been one thing after another, after another, after another. Appliances going bad, appliances, very expensive appliances being repaired. It's just nonstop. So what that did was it kind of took away my ability to get some stuff done earlier and faster than what I now have to do. And so the goal is still to launch the campaign in the March-April timeframe, but the next few weeks are going to kind of determine, what's it going to be, March or April. I'm leaning towards April, and I'm kind of more than 50% leaning that way. So I want to be transparent with everyone that that's what I think it's going to be. I want to address the lack of email updates, and here's my take on email updates is that there's several times where I wanted to start doing them, but I wanted to have a certain amount of art done, meaning drawn and colored. Now, all the art for the book has been drawn. We finished all that a long time ago. The delay was in me recovering from COVID, and then having to find a new colorist after having invested significant time going what we thought was one direction, but then we had to go a different direction. So brought Matt Yackey on board. We did a bunch of color tests to make sure that we could come up with a style that was going to work for the project, and it would be a coloring style that Matt was happy with, and that I wanted to make sure Russ was happy with, since it was all going to be in conjunction with his line work. And we found that with Matt Yackey, which has been great. Unfortunately, Matt himself has gotten sick. I don't know how much he's talked about publicly, so I'm not going to go into too many details, but he's recovering. He turned in some new pages. They look great. And we're really getting into a groove artistically with everything. The visual language for the Outliers is very, I think, distinct in today's comic book environment. It definitely reminds people of comics from the 80s, but it's kind of like I'm calling it like Bronze Age plus. It's definitely got Bronze Age elements, but it does have some stuff that you can only do with the latest and greatest technology. So that's all very cool. But here's the deal: is that with the email updates, every time I got close to starting to put together what would essentially be a series of updates, something would happen which would knock the production schedule out of whack. And I wanted to make sure that I could get everything back in line before I start advertising stuff publicly. And I think that those email updates are a form of advertisement in the pre-launch stage, if that makes sense. Once the campaign goes live and people are contributing money, then I think those email updates are accountability on behalf of the creator, the owner of the campaign. But like, for example, with Only Death Can Save Us 2, you were able to send out updates, Russ, to people like me who had backed the first book, and you were able to say, hey, here's what's coming down the pike for book 2. It was good advertising. But then once your campaign goes live and people start giving you money for book 2, then and you can see it's obvious to me as a reader, as an Only Death reader, it's obvious the updates are written one way when you're in pre-launch, they're written another way when you've launched, and then they're written another way when the campaign is in full swing.
And then you have to adapt as well. So for instance, it's kids to do this. Okay, I used my previous campaign as a way to talk to people who hadn't necessarily gotten the book yet in the current campaign. So while I was doing continued updates for book 1, that was written in a slightly different way to the updates for book 2, and then written again in a slightly different way to what I was putting in the emails as well. So yeah, I was quite pleased with the way the numbers came out, because I wasn't hitting marketing hard this time. And in some ways I purposely went for, what can I do with the people that I can already talk to, and how can I expand that? So I'm going I'm also going down the road of, I want to see more growth from things like email lists, from YouTube channels, and from my own website. So eventually I'll put stuff on my website that I sell direct. I already have a small shop for, tit and tat, but I want to be able to put up artwork, spare, extra books that haven't been sold, all that kind of stuff. But it's a slow build. And when you're in the middle of working, as you know, because you're on your own project, and I'm on there with you, and then I'm on my own project as well, and then you've got to pay the bills, so other clients' work comes in, and you have to attend to it appropriately. So it's a slow process. I mean, trying to find the time to put into my own website at the moment is nothing. I can't even do videos at the moment. I'm just so busy.
I hear you, man. I wanted to have an Outlier Comics website up and running by now, but 2021 basically kicked me in the nuts and said, "Yeah, try and get that done now, sucker." So there are some things that I've had to postpone, but as far as the email updates go, Great Sage had a good comment. He said Joe wants to be our accountability buddy. And that's exactly right. I want to make sure that when I start sending those email updates out to the list, that everybody understands that I'm taking this whole thing very seriously. And I don't want to send any, even to the point where I don't want to send you email that is anything other than giving you pertinent information to the thing that you've expressed interest in. So up till now, every time I thought I was getting to that point and I said email update should start next week or should start in a couple weeks or whatever it was, that was immediately followed up with something that was like, oh, well, the plans you had, those are done. Make new ones. So, and a lot of that is centered around family stuff that has to be taken care of. And then some of it, it's kind of getting into ground that's already been tread. I'll just say real briefly that the paper shortage is real. It's affecting a lot of different people in similar ways, and it's affecting some of us in different ways. Some of us have had business deals that are essentially on hold because we can't get books printed. Other people, it's affecting, it's affecting printing, it's affecting distribution, it's affecting new projects getting started. There's a lot of people, I'm not going to name names, but I will say there are people who are having to postpone even starting new projects because they're not confident they can get the books printed. So that puts me in a bit of a pickle as far as the Outliers is concerned. If I had had my way, the thing would have been printed and fulfilled long ago. KSSS says, want to make God laugh? Tell him your plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So here's where we're at with Outlier Comics and the Outliers Volume 1. I am looking to, like I said, the target of launching in March or April is still it's still there. It's looking like it probably will be April. Once we launch, I will do so with the understanding that there will be a number of months that I'm adding to the fulfillment, the time until fulfillment. I'm going to add in several months purely for world insanity that I have no control over. And so a lot of that has to do with the paper shortage. But I want people to understand that I'm going to be printing domestically, not internationally. So that eliminates one of the big problems that people who are printing overseas have had to deal with, which is cargo ships just lining out for miles in the ocean because they're not allowed to dock and then offload. So there's stuff like that that I can, deal with. There's some other stuff that you don't really find out about it until you're actually in discussions with a printer, or you've already made an agreement with a printer, and then they suddenly spring something on you that you couldn't possibly have predicted. So that extra, several months that I'm going to pad in there is to account for stuff like that as well. We're going to be doing something with digital content that I have not seen done before. I've heard that one person has done it. I need to investigate that a little bit. But I think people are going to enjoy it. What else is going on? We've got. I had mentioned that Matt Yaki had been sick, but is recovering, and I just want to say that I'm really happy with his work. Russ has been happy with the pages he's seen. I'm going to be showing you guys a couple of pages today because the show obviously we had to postpone for a couple weeks, so I want to get caught up with showing you guys artwork. So we'll show you some new pages today. What else? Russ, while we're on the topic of upcoming stuff, was there anything that you wanted to mention about Only Death Can Save Us 2 as far as fulfillment or anything like that? Anything you want to talk about that's coming up over the next, 6 months or so?
No, I mean the periodicals, the floppies, have been delayed slightly because of all the things you were just talking about.
Yeah.
I've had at least one deal scuppered over all that rubbish. So I'm not very impressed. But everything else is jogging along. I don't, like yourself, I don't talk about family stuff. I have been delayed slightly, but I'm still aiming for March. So we'll see.
March to begin fulfillment?
March to get to the printers.
To the printers, got it.
To the printers. My print turnaround was about a week last time, and so I've given it a couple of weeks.
Okay.
I was hoping to get there in February, but because of issues, it's slightly delayed. But again, we're talking weeks that might be delayed, not months. So it's just a percentage phase, as it were. As far as the artwork is concerned, everything's coming along quite nicely. I've had the second part scripted, and actually Eric has finished doing the letters on that. Nice. So early next month, I'll be having Eric finish the last part of it, and then it'll be over into colours at the end of the month. So I think things are moving on. I can show some pages if you want.
Sure.
Share screen. Oh, haven't done this in a while.
It took me a lot longer to set up the show today than it used to. I was like, wow, what a difference a couple of weeks of insanity makes.
There you go.
Okay.
So we've got some, this is, again, all these are traditionally inked.
Mm-hmm.
So this is after it's been scanned in and tidied up. This is a nice page. It's a little bit of an homage to a Silver Surfer page. Where he's delivered by Galactus, but in this case, it's the Supreme.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's all looking good. It's all getting there.
That looks cool.
I can't really show. I want to show more, but I can't because I don't want to give away the plot. And I've been quite careful about what I've shown so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd really love to show a lot more, but I just can't do it because I don't want to ruin it. I want people to open it up and go, oh.
It's an ongoing excuse me, it's an ongoing dilemma.
Yeah. You don't want to show it and then ruin any enjoyment. And I'm very proud of the story. So as much as I'm an artist primarily, I want people to see my work. That you buy the book and it's both, isn't it? It's the story and the art together, and I don't want to ruin that. So yeah. But yeah, quite pleased with that one, and my inking's coming on quite well as well. So quite pleased with the way the lines are looking.
Yeah, looks good. Speaking of pages, I got a couple that I'm going to show here, and since it's been a few weeks since we looked at any, and we've got some people in the chat today who may not have seen them, I'll quickly go through the ones I've already shown, and then we'll get to some new ones. So this is page 1. This is going to be the title and credits page.
Just see what Johnny Rando just said.
Johnny says, Russ is very talented. Centuries of inbreeding has benefit.
That's very good.
Mo Big says, don't worry, guys. Your boy assured us that there is no paper shortage.
Right,
okay. Well, I guess if it's not happening for him, then that's great. There's a whole lot of other people that are having the opposite.
There's no paper shortage over here as such. Let's say when you go up the levels as far as numbers of books you want to print.
Yeah.
So I can't say too much. Yeah, you get stuck pretty quickly. You want to print 500, you want to print a couple of thousand, not a problem. You want to print multiples, no, it's not there.
Yeah.
You get a door shut in your face, or you get put on a list.
Yeah, so. A wait list. Amanda's saying, didn't Iconic Comics person post as much too? No shortage. Possibly. But again, I think that if so, then that is probably because they're not printing enough to be affected. But yeah, there's and then Chris is saying that there are rolls of paper sitting here at New Hampshire mills that can't be shipped because of policies affecting the truckers.
Yeah, I heard it was some of that was down to chips in the chipsets. In the vehicles,
not being able to get chips from China to put in the trucks to drive the paper. From the mills to the printers.
Over here, it's to do with a lack of. I mean, you've got people that don't like Brexit saying, "Oh, it's because of Brexit that we don't have enough drivers," and it's like, well, no, the driver issue has been going on for about 10 or 15 years. And to be brutally honest, Brexit or no Brexit or COOF or no COOF, these people have been given terrible working conditions. They've been given terrible wages, and it's not a wonder that people didn't want to take the jobs up. So, if you suddenly stop everything and all the people that were working in as lorry drivers go, oh, do you know what, I've had enough of this, and don't come back, then you're stuffed. It doesn't matter where you get the workers from. If it's bad paying conditions, it's bad paying conditions.
Yeah.
So at the moment we've got that problem, and then on top of that, our like road taxation department, the department that deals with licenses and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They're on a backlog of getting people to pass their tests so that they can drive lorries. So it's full on the Benny Hill show here.
If it's not paper, it's trucks. If it's not trucks, it's the drivers. If it's not the drivers,
it's have you got a license for that? Yeah. No, it's like the Benny Hill show here at the moment. People running around very fast to very high pitched music and not knowing what they're doing. Hysterical.
Well, at least we can say that some of us are still able to do what we're supposed to be doing. We're drawing, we're coloring, we're writing. This here on the screen is page 2. So we've got the Outliers team on their first mission. They are approaching.
Love that page.
With the one that's up now?
No, the one before. They're all nice pages, but I just love that page.
Yeah. So they're in the North Woods of Maine. There's this shady character that they have been assigned to approach and, if possible, bring in peacefully for some interrogation. The government wants to know why this superhuman powered guy is in the U.S. illegally, and is he a friend? Is he a foe? What's his deal? So they want to just try and approach him and just talk. So misperception is making the team appear to be invisible from the perspective of our friend Dennis here, who's working as a logger. But as soon as he gets approached, he immediately takes off running. And we've got Mini Mart not waiting for the team, just zooming in, thinking he's going to, wrap this up nice and quick. He gets disabused of that notion in short order, and misperception is trying to create illusions of trees up ahead to try to slow Dennis down, force him to go around rather than run through what is actually a clearing, basically. And then we've got Dennis thinking, oh, well, I'll just use my superhuman speed and strength and just jump right into one of these trees and then start running along the treetops. I'll make my getaway. And then he finds out very quickly these are not actually trees. They're just illusions. And so we've got Night Falcon down here tracking his movement. High T is in the background checking on Mini Mart. And as Dennis is coming down, Night Falcon and the Saint are going to be lying in wait for him. And the final page we'll show today, wrong direction. Actually, this is the next to the last page. So this one, the Saint cleans his clock, which is basically a reverse shot from page 1.
Womp.
And this time, Dennis discovers that some of these trees are in fact real as he goes crashing through one. And then Night Falcon comes over to try to finish him off. And High T is also making his way over. And here's a new page that you guys have never seen. Mo says, the only one who can slow down my boy Mini Mart is his arch nemesis, Quick Stop. Good one, Mo. And so we've got here Dennis again, superhumanly strong, just picked up Night Falcon in his power suit and just flips him like a pancake, no problem. And that's when High T is basically saying, all right, enough's enough. It's time to get this guy off my lawn, metaphorically speaking. So he bulks up and comes to, he thinks, take care of this guy nice and quick. But then it turns out that Dennis has a little extra something in the old gas tank. So Hope you guys like what you see. As I said, the colors are coming along nicely. Chris Fisk says, "Love the angles." Yeah, I'm happy with the way that Russ laid out the pages. I was saying how this whole series actually is really a love letter to the Bronze Age, but it's all new characters, new universe, new stories. Everything's original, and so uh, it's not a complete duplicate, let's say, of Bronze Age comics. And one of the ways in which it is different is that a lot of the a lot of the layouts are very contemporary, and it's really all about which layouts best serve the story. So we're not going to be sticking to 6-panel grids. Although there are some of those, and when I see them, I'm very happy about it because it does bring me back to those days of when I was growing up reading comics. But when those 6-panel grids are in there, it's because it serves the story. That's the way that the story is going, and therefore it makes sense to have a 6-panel grid on something like this, where you got you got something a lot you got a lot going on here, and so I really like how this panel, one is offset, and it's at odd angles. It reflects the action that's going on in it. You've got this progression here of high T as he's transforming, and then he's literally stepping outside of the panel. He's too big to be contained. And then you've got Dennis, who he's been disoriented and he's on edge and he's feeling threatened, and the action is reflected by the way the panels are laid out. So I'm very happy with this. And then I saw Adam Miller says, "I already knew I'd be back in this book, but this just reinforces that we need this old school approach, both visually and story-wise, in comics today." Thank you, Adam. We're glad that you like what you see. We've had a lot of fun working on this book, and despite the many obstacles that have been thrown in our way, we just keep trucking along. And so to kind of summarize what we were discussing as far as the future of Outlier Comics, the goal is that in the spring, which for us is March, April, now looking more like April than March, we'll plan to launch the campaign. It's going to be most likely run it for 30 days and then extend it for another 30 days and then go in demand. Now, the book will be done. It may be completely finished and ready to go to print before the campaign even launches. If not, then I anticipate it to be completely ready to go to print before the first 30 days are up. So that's the status of the project as we are as of today. And then the question is, what do we do in the second half of 2022? Now, I had been setting things up to be able to do a campaign for Volume 2 around October or so of 2022. The last few months may have made that impossible. I don't know yet. So I'm not counting any chickens before they hatch. I'm not trying to get out over my skis too far. The focus is on Volume 1, getting it finished, running the campaign. I hope that we make enough money on it that I can recover my production expenses, because I funded everything out of pocket up front. But we'll see what people think of the project. We'll see what their interest is. And the success of the first campaign is going to have a big impact on when we can do the second. As long as I'm still vertical, there will be a second. This is a 12-chapter story. In volume 1, we have chapter 1 and chapter 2, and then an 8-page backup story that starts to tell the origin of the saint, how he got his powers. And then beyond that, we'll just see how well the campaign does. We'll see how big we can make book 2, and then we'll see, when we can start thinking about a campaign for that. Maybe it'll be 2022. Maybe it'll have to be the next year. We'll see how things go. I think that's about it. Stat has to jump. So do I. So I just want to say again, thank you all for joining us today. Really appreciate you. I know that you could be doing anything else, but you chose to spend your time with us, and we really appreciate you. So I hope that the day is a good one for you. Let's all go out there and try to make it a great one, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. See you next week.
До свидания.
Don't let authority stop you from doing what you love. You